we have a lot to talk about tonight. We've had a great week in terms of television. We had a great episode of What We Do in the Shadows to talk about tonight.
I had such a fun time.
And alongside that, we have some exciting news about one of our other favorite shows. Do you want to share with the class?
I forgot. Okay, we'll get into that later. We can start with What We Do in the Shadows, but oh my god, I literally like temporarily forgot. So much happened today. I'm so excited. Oh my god. Nope, we're getting into it. Our Flag Means Death comes back in October, and I'm so unwell about it. I'm so unwell.
You went through all the emotions in like a 5-second interval.
This podcast isn't recorded, but I am crying right now.
It's a good show. It's a good show. We've had a really unhinged week, and
it's been such a month, guys.
there's like very minimal good things going for us right now. So this is kind of the tip of it. This is kind of like this is our peak. This is our peak. I mean, it's exciting. And it's funny because it was like, you know, we went like a very long period of time without hearing anything about that specific show and thinking like, it's never going to come back. It's such a good show. I feel like if you watch What We Do in the Shadows, you'll love Our Flag Means Death. So if you haven't done that yet, please do. You'll love it. The creator of the show, David Jenkins, brought it up on a podcast just so nonchalantly that like, oh yeah, it's coming back in October.
He's like, October, as if my entire mental state didn't hinge on that information.
I know.
Thank you, you absolute menace, David Jenkins.
yeah, and I think we're both really excited about it. When it comes out, we will have episodes for you reviewing the whole season, breaking it all down, and we're really, really excited about that. And if you haven't watched our reviews of, are you still crying?
Keep going. Just keep going. Don't worry about it.
If you haven't watched our review,
I'm normal about the pirate show.
I'm not worried about it.
I'm worried about it. That's fucking Tim Robinson.
Yeah. But if you haven't watched our season 1, Our Flag Means Death reviews, you should. You can actually literally watch them. They're on YouTube. You get to see our beautiful faces. But, like, speaking of the gays winning, this episode of What We Do in the Shadows was everything.
I had a great time.
We ate. They fed us. There's so much to say. I'm literally so excited to talk about this. I'm going to say it at the top of the episode. I'm going to give you my big opinion. This was maybe my favorite episode of the season so far. And if not, my favorite episode of the last 2 seasons. That's right. I'm giving it a special place in my heart. I'm going to go off about it in a second, but I want to hear your immediate reactions, Caitlin.
Last week was kind of a crazy week, like, personally.
Yeah.
So I feel like by the time Thursday night came around, I was, like, falling asleep. I'm like, I need to go to bed. I rewatched the episodes over the week, and I'd be laughing so hard. I was just like, why was I not laughing like this last week? And then I rewatched it, and I was like, actually, these are pretty good episodes. I still think episode 1 was stronger than 2. But then tonight, it just immediately, I was like laughing so hard. First of all, Sean's here.
Yeah.
He's putting on a pride parade to, you know, cater to the LGBTQ community for his votes of being a comptroller. When he, like, what really killed me was when he was like, they're like, oh, but we want to show you these shirts. And one of them was, hey, I'm being gay over here.
Hey, I'm being gay over here. Oh my God. That got me. Yeah, I got. That was so funny. I love that last season we established that Sean is an ally. I remember when you and I talked about this being elated because I feel like your stereotypical Staten Island guy, you don't know if he's going to be down with the queer community. And he totes is, and he really delivered.
He doesn't mess with homophobes. However, he does get his letters messed up. Like, he stumbled a couple times. He goes, you know, since you guys are part of the LGBT LMNOPs, you know what? I don't get it.
He's doing the best he can. Yeah.
He's a little confused.
You're so close. You're so close, babe. Keep working at it. Oh my God. At the very, like, not to jump ahead, but there's so much to unpack, I think, when it comes to Sean's character explicitly. Now, not only do we know that he's an ally, but we also know that he might be a member because he's always
Oh my
trying
God.
to kiss Laszlo. Hello?
The way he was just like, yeah, I do. And Charmaine's like, what?
What a development. What a development.
No.
Like, hello? And he was proud of it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
He was proud of it. He was like, yeah, I am trying to get with Laszlo. Like, I've been trying to get with Laszlo.
I like that Nandor was just like, he didn't want to get involved. He's like, I'm too busy for this. I've got a little bird that flew into my room that I'm trying to make friends with. And then later on, he names that bird Matthew.
See, this is the part of Nandor that I really want to see this season, is like the part that is so girlfriend. Like, the part that is just like, you know, trying to make friends with birds and like thinks that a horse on a merry-go-round is his long lost honorable horse in battle. That is the man I love. Like, yes, I know that part of his character is like he is a little clueless and like he does things without being considerate of or empathetic for some of the people around him, hence the whole Marwa plot line. But I really like when we kind of shift that, so it's less about him being apathetic and more about him just being like a silly, goofy guy.
He's a silly, goofy guy who's also a jealous, super goofy guy.
We've got
Let's
jealous
fucking go.
Nandor. We've got him. This is one of my favorite television tropes, when one character is so jealous of the other character and they also have unrequited feelings about that character. It is, oh my God, like I live for it. I am scratching at my walls. I am scratching the wallpaper right off. I'm rolling around on the floor. I'm stepping on glass. I'm doing all of it. I'm doing all of it for jealous Nandor.
And he admits it. Like, he goes, and am I doing all of these things to impress Guillermo? Yes. It's like, okay, let's go. Like,
yeah. I mean, this is exactly what I would have wanted. This is the I've probably read fan fiction about this. Like,
probably.
It felt like this was taken right from someone's archive of our own account and then just like put on my screen. It was so fabulous. It makes me really excited for this season because it feels like there's a lot of buildup happening. Like, we've got this new dynamic between Laszlo and Guillermo, which I am really excited about, and I think we'll talk about in a little bit. And then we've got Nandor, who's jealous and like openly and intentionally doing things to impress Guillermo, like go into fucking space. Like, we are so back.
I literally, like, I feel, because I think we talked about this last season too, where it's like we're always seeing Guillermo kind of like pine for Nandor, or like kind of hinting at like he has these feelings, but like Nandor like is so like clueless or just does not give a shit. And now we're finally seeing the flip side of that, which I feel like we haven't seen ever. And the fact that he straight up admitted, like, yes, I'm doing this to impress Guillermo. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. And I'm just like, if that's not the reason why you're doing that, then why are you doing it?
Why are you doing it? It's probably one of the most authentic examples of like the direction the show is probably going in between them both. Yeah. And it's so compelling and validating. It's like, okay, we are definitely on the track of something bigger happening later in the season. What I'm realizing as I'm watching this is the prospect of Guillermo's vampirism not being fully developed is so fascinating because there's so much pressure there. There's so much tension there. There's so much questioning about who and what he could become as his skill set as a vampire fully like develops. We could end the season with a fully vampiric Guillermo. We could have literally a final scene where this man opens his eyes and is a full-fledged vampire. We just don't know, you know? It just feels like there's so much potential there.
And what does that say about the relationship? I mean, not to be like a hashtag Nandor shipper and looking at everything deeply, but like, what is that like him like not fully being a vampire say about like him not fully letting himself into this relationship? Maybe I'm looking into things. I don't know where to connect the dots, but the dots are there. I'm trying to find a connection.
No. You're thinking like a meta writer, baby.
Like, by the end of the season, if we get like a fully vampire Guillermo, will we get like a fully like maybe slightly more developed relationship between the two of them, you know?
Oh, totally. We have to get over the hump of Nandor finding out that Guillermo has changed.
Right.
I think. But
Just
once
that little hurdle.
yeah, just like that one horrible thing that could ruin everything.
Yeah, and then everything else that's happened in the relationship that's kind of toxic, but like it's fiction, so I'm looking over it.
But yeah, moving past it, move past it. But I think there really is an opportunity once storyline is fully executed for something larger. Not to jump too far ahead. I'm trying to live in the moment, baby. But at the same time, it's hard to live in the moment because it's like, oh my God, like there's so much potential given what we've seen just in this episode between their characters.
Right, and then like where else do you go? Like why wouldn't they go that way? You know, because like if they don't eventually end up in some sort of relationship, what else do you do?
Oh, it's happening. It's happening. Like I'm not questioning. You know, my clown shoes are off. I've thrown them into the corner. I've sprayed them with like foot deodorizer. Like I'm done with them. I don't need them anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. I am wearing like 6-inch stilettos. I'm in my cunt era with this show. Like nothing bad can happen to me anymore because I know their end game, you know?
Yeah.
Like I may be clowning with a lot of my shows. You know this about me. Yeah. But I'm not clowning with Nandor and Guillermo. Like I know that what's going to happen is meant to happen and it will happen because literally what you said, like why the fuck wouldn't it, you know?
And I'm also like a chronic overthinker and just seeing things because I want to see them that way, but I don't know. I'm having fun and that's all that matters.
See, I don't think that this is the show where I have to think like that. Let's rewind to the great Sherlock panic of 2018. No. I think that's a circumstance where it's like, you know, there was a lot of compelling evidence that they probably could have canonically put those two characters together, and other things happened and they didn't. But I think the question remains, like, why did you do some of the things you were doing if you weren't intending to put them together, if not to, like, you know, insinuate that these two people were maybe queer just for viewership purposes? I don't know. I won't speak for them. But what I will say is I think that we've moved past that period in society. Well, I hope we have.
I hope so.
I really fucking hope so. Like, I think if a show wants to try something like that today, it would be kind of gross. But it does beg the question, because I think we have spent a lot of our lives consuming television where, like, there is a lot of queer subtext and no queer action. It's really about trying to find the balance between whether something is, like, you're just seeing what you want to see, or if it's like an actual slow burn. It's so hard to know that with queer television, because for such a long time, so much of queer television has just been about subtext, or like potentially like baiting an audience into believing something might happen when it's not in some cases. So I think there's a really compelling case for Nandor and Guillermo to be together, to the extent that I don't feel like a stupid idiot for like being so gung-ho about it.
I just feel like there's so much.
There's so much. Like, whoa, it's so overt. I am maybe overconfident about this, but after I've been in the trenches, Caitlin. I've been in the trenches with some of my other shows. So I need this. I need a good clean win. I'm
rooting for you.
I need a win right now. And I think Nandor and Guillermo could be my win.
Here's how the gays can still win.
Here's how the gays... We've established that were anyone to find out, especially Nandor, what Guillermo has done, it could literally ruin everything from them. And I think we know as viewers, because we're optimistic and we're adults and we've seen things, that's not what's going to ultimately happen, but that's the insinuation, and that's going to be hard for us to push through. There's going to be a lot of tension there.
I'm ready for that moment, to be honest. Like, I know it's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to happen, like, maybe, like, mid-season, like, so maybe by, like, episode 5, or, like, if they wait until, like, the second to last episode or something, but I'm ready for that. Like, remember when they were, like, dueling in was it season 3 finale or something? God. Like, give me that tension. Like, that was fun. That was great. I need something more of their dynamic than just, like, Nandor being a dick to Guillermo and, like, there being some slight little moments where it's just like, oh, look at them being nice. And then it all goes to shit. I want some of that tension just to, like, add some, just, like, a spice to it. And then also just because, like, I think Nandor's going to be pissed. Like, again, I don't think anybody's going to be killing anybody. But I would love to see, like, a duel. A sword fight.
I don't think they're endgame this season, but I do think it's going to be like, I do think it's definitely going to be like a duel of fates, right? Like you know, yeah. I wonder also if like the stress and strain of hiding this from Nandor is ultimately going to get to Guillermo. Like, I'm so curious about how like their dynamic will change as the season goes on. And I feel like we're starting to see that. Like, it seems like with the introduction of jealous Nandor and like maybe Guillermo's realization that Nandor would literally go to space for him. I feel like we see him in the back of the Pride float at the very end of the episode, and he looks a little bit sad.
But then he gets happy again.
Yeah, but then he gets happy again, you know. So I really wonder if that's going to be a major conflict for him this season, is like navigating that.
The other thing about Guillermo, like being a vampire, is I'm wondering if his transition is like the way that it is because of his Van Helsing blood.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works. I don't know what the rules are, but I just feel like someone who has vampire hunter blood shouldn't be able to be a vampire, and I feel like they're like, it's almost like it's fighting each other. And then something I thought about like after we recorded last week's episode was the fact that last season Nandor got 3 wishes. Like, he got 3 extra wishes from his djinn. And we haven't seen those wishes, so I'm a little afraid that he's going to use it on Guillermo in a way that Guillermo doesn't like. But at the same time, I'm wondering if Guillermo is going to be like, you know what? Yeah, I don't want to be a vampire anymore. Take it away.
I have a general question.
Yeah.
Am I going to cry this season? Is that going to happen to me? I don't know. I just feel like, as I said, I feel like we're building up to something that's actually kind of emotional. Not that there haven't been emotional moments in the show, but it does feel like there's a possibility for the tension between Nandor and Guillermo to build in a way that is like actually very powerful and not just like in a comedic way.
I do love when comedy shows let their actors be like a little bit dramatic for a bit and get like pull on the emotions. And I feel like sometimes it hits more, like it's more emotional when it's normally a comedic show and all of a sudden like these people are crying and it's something that's truly devastating. So I'm ready for that. I'd like that. I'm a Pisces. I'll cry. I'll cry at anything. I cried on this podcast earlier.
You just cry right. I can cry right now, and I will. Yeah, I think there's something like so out of pocket about it that works, because it's like when you've set up your show to be unserious, like when you've set up your show to have, you know, some heart, but mostly be about making people laugh, to be able to also make them cry is so powerful. I think it shows that you've committed to making your characters likable, like to the extent that you want them to succeed. And I think that's so interesting, especially when it comes to a show like what we do in the shadows, where the characters are all kind of dicks. Like, they all are very self-interested people, and yet I find myself rooting for them and like wanting them to succeed and grow and do better and find happiness in all of their own individual struggles so much, because I feel like so much of what makes them all kind of dicks is like the lack of identity that they feel 100 years after becoming vampires. And like, I feel like the time that they've spent just existing through so many different worlds, you know, it's just, I just can't even imagine not to I'm being so serious, I can't believe how serious I'm being right now, this is so fucked, but like, I can't imagine if you put yourself in the perspective of a vampire for a second, because we all can, because they exist and they're real.
Yeah, obviously.
I can't imagine what it would be like to live forever. It sounds like a massive curse.
It sounds like horrible, honestly.
Yeah.
To be like, oh, this is never ending. Awesome.
It just never
And they
ends.
can't even go out in the sun.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Let's mosey out of this deep abyss of human suffering and into the bed of a Mr. Laszlo Cravensworth for a second.
Yeah, go up.
Every single show I watch, I choose one man. And that's my guy through the whole thing. I'm keeping him. Like, fuck parasocial relationships, but he's my best friend. He's my guy. He's my good time boy. And Laszlo is that boy for me. Like, he just brought such a great energy to this episode. First of all, every outfit
he
wore,
slayed.
Oh my God. Like, he brought such a great energy. The billowy shirts, his beach outfit. My man had a beach scene. My man had a beach scene.
He had his Kendall Roy moment, baby.
Caitlin and I could write an essay on the importance of a 40-year-old man having a day at the beach. Here's the thing. Hear me out. I'm about to connect the dots. Us women, us gals, and non-binary pals, we've spent a lot of time at the ocean when we feel unequivocally unwell. You know, It's just what you do. It's what Jane Austen has always suggested that we do. It's what Louisa May Alcott suggested we do. We persist to the beach when things go awry. And that said, I feel like every grown man, every man in his midlife who exudes violent teenage girl energy should have a day at the beach. Like,
Agreed.
It's essential to his well-being. Like, think about Succession. Every time Kendall was having a moment, where did that fucker go?
He went to the water, baby!
He went right to that water. He was like, I'm gonna jump, you know? Every time he was like, I'm gonna go in there. I'm gonna flop around like a little fish. And I'm gonna, you know, do fuck all because my dad hates me and I hate myself, you know? Like, it is essential that a grown man have his day at the beach. So to be able to see Laszlo slather on his Guillermo sun sweat and go out and have himself a jolly good time, like, that's therapy for me. Like, that I can cancel my therapy this week because I got it.
You got it from Laszlo. He drew a dick on the beach in the sand. He caught a fish with his bare hand.
He wore a fun little sun hat.
He had a little beach outfit. Everybody's got a good beach outfit. He had his little beach outfit. It was so weird seeing him in the daylight, I gotta say.
I love that his jerk reaction upon seeing Sean is that Sean has beautiful skin.
I know! And he just grabs his face. And he's like, yeah, cool, thanks.
Yeah, best friend energy. I love it. Or will history say they were friends? It seems like it could go either way now after this episode.
History will say they're friends. You know who else I love this episode?
Please.
Nadja. I had a great time. Oh my god. The way that, like, when they switched, like, souls or whatever with the Dolly Nadja, like, gets into human Nadja, and she's just, like, walking around because she doesn't know how to walk. She just looks like a dolly.
The doll movements were so fun. They reminded me so much of the Big Comfy Couch.
Luna, Amalia, Connor, Dolly.
Yeah, all the PBS girls out there, they know. Like, it was just the way she, like, could tilt her head from one side to the other and, like, kind of, like, make her upper body limp.
That was
and
so
just kind
good.
of, like, flop around. I love that. And I think that wardrobe did such a great job at helping her kind of create that illusion. Because she really, like, she moved so well. And then for her to adapt Colin Robinson's likeness.
Oh my god, that was fun.
Like, holy shit. I mean, first, we've got, like, the back and forth where sometimes it's Nadja talking and then other times it's Colin talking. And it's great. Like, you can distinctly tell who's who, which is so fun. And then you've got whatever that was at the end.
How many people were there?
So many.
Well, I also just loved, like, one of the first things she said was when the dolly became, like, human Nadja. She goes, I'm big, bitches! Like, she was so excited about how tall she was. It killed me. It immediately killed me. And then she flops over like a doll. I'm like, this is incredible. She must have had, like, Natasha Demetria must have had such a fun time, like, acting that out.
I bet she did. And I'm so glad because I feel like they need to give her, like, I was hoping they'd give her more to work with this season. I was like, oh my gosh, I really, really hope that her character gets more screen time and, like, more wacky, fun schemes to participate in. And I feel like they've heard us loud and clear and they're actually adapting a lot of that.
The second that it was suggested that Dolly Nadja wanted to be human again, I was just like, something's gonna happen. Let's go.
Yes, it's gonna happen. I wonder how long this carries on for. If it's like it resets next episode and everything's back to normal, or if it's like another Colin Robinson situation where it's like everybody is still contained in Nadja's body. Like, how is that gonna go?
I feel like they might just reset it next week.
That could be.
I think that's gonna happen. 'Cause I think this was like a one-time gag. Like, I don't know how long they could keep it up for, especially with the Colin Robinson and Nadja both being in there. Like,
Yeah.
I think that could get old like really quickly. That's why I feel like it worked
Yeah.
so well this episode. I think by the end of next week I'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, we get it. Everybody's in one person. Yeah.
Can we talk about Guillermo in this episode?
Yeah.
There are going to be so many beautiful pieces of fan art that come from this episode, namely Guillermo's little scarf and hat at the pride parade.
He looks so cute.
And him sitting on the float with a sign that says gay guy, just looking so doomed by the narrative. Like,
I was thinking, like, people are going to use that as, like, a Halloween costume this year or something. Or, like,
iconic
when they go to Pride next year, it's just going to be a sign that says gay guy.
Gay guy. He's so precious. Like, I really just want the best for him. And I feel like after the tussle of emotions that I feel like we've already been through, I don't think it's going to get better for him, but I wish it would, because he's so, like, I just want to hug him. Like, oh my gosh.
I'm rooting for him. I like part of me like really wants this vampire thing to take for him, because he seems to really want it, but I don't think this is what he wants. I think he's like gonna learn that like maybe this isn't what it was all like what he thought it was gonna be, you know? So I also can't believe that like Dolly Nadja just wanted to lose her virginity so bad. She's like, well, I'm not happy with who she's chosen, but like everybody else in this house has explored everybody like no matter what. So I'm thinking, I'm like, oh, this is how the Gaija shippers get their
that was my thought.
Rums and stuff. I was just like, it's gonna be the guide, and then it cuts to fucking Colin Robinson just sitting there in his bed. I was like, what's going on?
We lost today.
You lost. I'm sorry.
The Gaija chippers are in a press group. We lost the war guys, but there's still time.
You lost that battle. I don't think you lost the war yet. We still got 7 episodes to go.
We sure do. Yeah, what a relief too, because just the fact that she was so willing to fuck Colin Robinson over the guy, like, the delusion is real, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
I also I didn't see the guide at first when Nadja in the doll was just like, I don't know if it's weirder that I'm here or if I left. And then all of a sudden it cuts to the guide in the corner going like, me too. And I'm like, what are you doing there? Like, what? You don't have to be there.
I love the direction that we're taking the guide in this season. Mm-hmm. As much as I don't want it to be another dynamic where it's like she's just kind of following Nadja around like a lost puppy, I do love the idea of her just like trying to get into the gang as a whole and like pretty consistently being rejected. Like, that is kind of funny to me.
I kind of like that the guide is fucking with Nadja a bit. Like, the whole, like, I still believe that she was totally, like, she cursed, like how you said last week, like, she cursed Nadja with the picture as a way to try and get, like, to be friends with her, but it's like not really working. And now she's just like, yeah, I can totally switch your bodies immediately, and be like, oh, actually it's kind of hard to get you back. Sorry. Like she deserves that, you know, like she deserves to have her fun that way. She's, but I just hope that I just hope that she does actually become a friend, and that she's just treated right, because like as much as like Guillermo's a loser as far as like consistently loses, so does the guy. Like, she just wants friends, and these people just don't give her any time, and I feel for her so bad. Yeah,
it's funny to a point to like be the character that just like wants to be friends with everybody, and then just to be persistently rejected. It's like, oh, you know, it's relatable, I think, for a lot of us out there that are fucking losers. But like, it definitely also does get old fast, because then you're like, all right, well, I hope this woman gets a hug or therapy at some point, you know?
Seriously, yeah.
When it comes to the dynamic that's developing between Guillermo, Laszlo, and Nandor, where, you know, there's all this jealousy, I love that Laszlo and Nandor are posturing for Guillermo. I think that is growth, because obviously so much of the last couple of seasons has been focused on Guillermo being, you know, kind of tossed aside and used as a punching bag for the rest of the gang. But to see Laszlo actively helping Guillermo and like trying to get to the bottom of what's wrong with him, literally willing to like put this man's sweat all over his body and go out into the sun.
I know.
Meanwhile, Nandor is like, fuck you guys, I'm just gonna go to space. Like,
I'm gonna go to space because I need to impress
wow.
Guillermo.
Wow. It's just such a 360 from, I feel like, what we've seen in the past for their dynamic. I'm so glad that there's bonding happening. I'm so glad that there's like closeness that's being developed finally. Not that they didn't have like really fun dynamics in the past seasons, but it feels like something real is finally happening between them all. Something that is akin to love in like a more overt way than ever. So as we've been discussing It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia in tandem with the show recently, since it's just wrapped its 16th season on FX, I think this is another good example of a show where it's like everyone in the show is terrible. Like, there isn't necessarily supposed to be any growth. You're not supposed to relate to them. You're not supposed to like them. They're terrible fucking people. And yet the show is somehow still about love. It is still inherently a love story. It is still about people who are broken, finding each other and trying to find ways to fix each other and loving each other despite all being awful.
Because at the end of the day, all they have is each other, you know?
Yeah,
and I feel like too with Guillermo, like, they joke and shit on him all the time, but I think they would all genuinely miss Guillermo if he left or if he, like, was killed or something. Like, I think, like, we talked last week about how Laszlo has, like, such incredibly deep connections with the people around him, whether he truly acknowledges it or not. Like, we obviously with Nadja, he has it, and he had it with baby Colin Robinson, and, like, the acting with Matt Berry in the finale of last season was incredible. Like, that was devastating. Like, he lost his son. You know?
He lost his son.
He lost his son, and then now he's bonding with Guillermo, and I feel like it's both to protect his friend Nandor from that humiliation, but also I feel like it's probably out of genuine, like, curiosity and love of, like, figuring out what's going on with my friend Gizmo, you know? Like, what is happening to him? What can I do to help him? And what can I do to stop him from getting killed? Because I think they would fall apart without him. That's why I'm so interested to see, like, what's going to happen when this eventually gets revealed, because you know it has to. I think the camaraderie of having Guillermo, like, be a vampire and kind of be, like, their equal is good, because I feel like you can't also, just as a writing aspect, you can't just, like, consistently be like, and he's a familiar and he's always going to be underneath them no matter what. Like, and just have that dynamic. Like, you gotta eventually get him, because, like, I think you have to have growth with this show specifically. Like, they're all awful people, but we need to see the growth. And I think a good direction would be for Guillermo to, like, basically find his place and solidify his place amongst them as equals and be treated with some sort of respect. Like, you can all joke around at each other and talk shit about each other, but there's always going to be love there, and I can only hope that that's the direction that they get to.
Yeah, and I wonder if they're going to get there without that transition to him being a vampire being necessary. I feel like if I were writing this show, I think I would want that to be my point, that, like, this is a love story already. Love is unconditional, and thus Guillermo doesn't necessarily need to be a vampire in order for the people in his life to love him, you know, and for him to be accepted by them. You just made me think that when you mentioned that, it seems like Laszlo is genuinely curious but also concerned about and wanting to protect Guillermo and also Nandor. I wonder if he's also trying to protect himself a little bit, because he did just lose a son. Like, last season, he lost Colin Robinson. He lost this boy that he essentially raised. And it seems like Laszlo's response to difficult situations, to problems in his life that he doesn't feel like he can cope with, the way he tries to cope with them is through picking up things and moving things and trying to put things in order and fix them, hence
my god,
hence the house flipping plot last year, and now this. I really do feel like that is his way, not just of connecting with the people around him, but of coping with things that he can't control.
He's so me-coded.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine, don't worry about it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, well, because, okay, here's the thing, in season 3 he find out that Colin Robinson is dying, so what does he do? He becomes his best friend, and like, oh my god, this is crazy.
and that is like the second layer for me for the beach scene, and what I love about it is it's like, as I said, I think every older man should have his day at the beach. And what that means, it isn't just like, go to the water and smell the salt air and get rid of your tuberculosis. It's also like, I need to go be away from land. I need to go be in open air. I need to touch the earth. I need to touch the water. I need to exist. I need to be able to feel the sun on my face. Something that in his specific circumstance, he has not been able to do for hundreds of years because he's a vampire. So I do think, I know maybe it's not that deep, but to me, there is something to that he can go and be in the elements and be in that space, in part because of what's going on with Guillermo, but just because, like, as he's trying to control the circumstances in his life, he's also, I think, trying to make the most of things and doing a great job. Caitlin's gonna start crying again.
Fucking grave is worth. I can't keep crying on this podcast. I can't do it anymore. No! Oh my god. Nope. I can't think about it. What's gonna stop me from thinking like about Laszlo and crying is when Nadja tells the guy to like knock Colin Robinson over because now his soul is now like within Nadja. The hollow sound that his head makes when it hits the floor was so funny. Because he's gone. There's nothing in there. Like, no thoughts, head empty. He's out.
The lights are on, but no one's home. Well, when you think back, Colin Robinson's body, they treat that guy like a goddamn bop it.
They do.
He's, his carcass splits open in the bed and a baby crawls out. They clone. He once had a hive mind. Cloned.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, he's just, like, there's two of him. We forget this. There's two of him buried in the front yard still from past seasons shenanigans. Like, this man, they literally treat him like a doll. So I do ship him in a Nadja doll. No, that was my point. No, just kidding. That's
doll for doll.
But like, no, like, I do. It's so funny because like he's so amorphous. Like, his body takes on so many different experiences and meanings throughout the course of this past 5 seasons, and continues to the extent that he is now in the back of Nadja's head. There's just something so fascinating about it because no other character on that show could accomplish that feat, okay? Like, that's so insane. Bryan Cranston? No, listen, hear me out, okay? Colin Robinson could be Walter White, but Walter White could not be Colin Robinson, you know? There's something there. There's something to that. I'm connecting the dots, you know?
I also just like that his room was so patched up because he knocked out the walls so much last season. Yes. I loved seeing that. I'm a girly who loves continuity, you know?
Continuity, thank you. And it makes me wonder, like, I mean, part of it is like, yes, continuity, good. But the other part of me is like, okay, is this going to become important again for some reason? Like,
what does it mean?
What does it mean?
What does it mean?
And I feel like whatever it means has something to do with Laszlo.
Ooh. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. Speaking of Laszlo again, shift makers, if you can get his 3 little jumps and just like...
Oh my god, that was so funny.
Put them somewhere for me. Put them anywhere. Put them anywhere. Put them anywhere. Put them in my mailbox. I don't care.
Good.
Put them somewhere for me.
Yo, Laz, what the fuck you doing up there?
You know, the more we talk about it, this is going to sound crazy, but the more we talk about it, the more I think we're going to get Laszlo and Sean happening by the end of the season. Like, it's going to happen. If it hasn't already happened, it's going to happen, you know? Yeah. And it's at the point where I don't even know if it needs to happen for it to have happened. So there's that.
I also just love the fact that the Pride Parade happened at night.
Yes! Oh my gosh. The inclusivity, the accessibility that only a man like Shawnee would provide.
Truly.
And he doesn't even know. He doesn't even know. He doesn't even realize how accessible he's making this parade for his friends. He just assumes by default that they're like, the reason they're all so elaborate is because they're all gay, which, but like, they're also vampire. And it's like, hello, babe. Hey,
but doesn't
hello?
he know a little bit? Because of his brain
totally.
He's got to remember. That's still got to come back. That has to come back in some way. They mentioned it last week, how he's been hypnotized so many times. I just think that's going to be a bigger thing. I don't know what. Yeah. I think if it's just like him being immune to hypnotisms, but like he's just such a whatever's happening is happening. Oh, you're having a cool time, you're not hurting anybody, then I'm here for it. Like, I don't care.
Yeah, I think he's a great sounding board for all of the tomfoolery that takes place in the house, and especially when it comes to Laszlo. So I'm honestly so excited. Do you have any like last thoughts or feelings about the way this episode treated you?
I am genuinely just so pleased I had a great time, because again with last week, I could have just been my own like personal state, but like I was like, this is gonna be a little bit monotonous, I don't know, but I genuinely like was laughing from the start of this episode. This entire episode was fun. I can't wait to watch it again. Still don't know what's in store for next week or the season as a whole, but I'm excited. I'm very excited. I'm optimistic.
Yes, I'm so optimistic. This is definitely, I like that you said watch it again. This is definitely one of those episodes that you watch over again. Like, it's definitely going to become a comfort episode for me, and I have nothing but good things to say about it. Okay, I'm just going to say it. Okay, full transparency. Full transparency. We need to go the fuck to sleep. We need to go to bed.
We gotta go to bed.
Now. We need to go to bed right now.
Thursday.
It's bad.
So we're done.
It's real
we're
bad.
Editing.
Yeah. It's time for us to get some girl sleep.
Girl sleep. Girl slumber.
Thank you. Girl slumber. This is so. Oh,
we're at an hour. We've been recording for an hour and a half. Oh, yeah. Caitlin, I hope you got it under an hour.
And said nothing substantive, so sorry about that.
Yeah. Thanks for being here. Thanks for sticking around.
Tune in to Live by Moonlight. Tune in next time when we review whatever comes next.
Episode 4 of What We Do in the Shadows.
When we review an episode, please like us.
See you next week.
Bye.
Like us, rate us. If you're still here, God bless. Godspeed. Goodbye.